On a remote island off the west coast of Ireland isn't where you'd expect to find a current professional rugby player, but that's where USA tight head prop Paul Mullen currently finds himself. Having represented America at the Rugby World Cup in Japan, since the pandemic, Paul has been plying his trade in the family bike shop while awaiting clearance to return back to America.
I suppose right now I'm trying to get back into the States. Came home about 4 months ago. Came home for 2 months to come home and just help out here. And now I'm stuck here. The island's 9 miles long, 3 miles wide. To me, it's normal. Like, I wouldn't know any different. Population about 800 people, so it's you know everybody. You know everybody knows you, and which can be good and bad. From living in the States and stuff, growing up here as a kid, I think it's fantastic because you have so much freedom. Do you know what I mean? As a kid, you hop on your bike and you're cycling around the whole place, as long as you're home before it's dark. I don't know, I suppose when you're out here, you kind of have to work hard, because if you want a simple life, nothing comes easy out here. You definitely have to work for it.
Yeah, super proud now, I have to say, yeah. Very good for the island.
It's crazy to think that like someone from such a small place like Ireland is playing for the USA or playing up in the Aviva, you know, that kind of like makes me want to think that I hope it's going to be me one day or something like that, you know, that if Paul's able to do it, you know, someone else could do it.
So the Islander is a bit tougher, all right, I think.
Because you see the water's coming up through the So what most people do is you go over the main road over this way, which is 6 hills. You go to Dunangus, and when you come back, you go left at the beach. So day to day here, I mean, it's if you're in the tourism industry on the island here, it's you could say rush hour is kind of at maybe 11 when the first ferry comes in. Rugby's kind of go all the time, while here it's, you know, you work hard for, you know, 9 to 5 and then relax for the rest of the day, whether it's fishing or whatnot, you know.
I've been home, not all summer every summer, but I'd be home for a few weeks every summer anyway. But no, it's great to have Paul here. It definitely adds a lot and makes things easier for me.
I suppose right now I'm trying to get back into the States. Basically, whenever Trump lets me back in. When I'm home, I just stay with the parents. I suppose I haven't really been home too often, so they haven't really had a chance to get fed up with me before, but now I came home for 2 months and it's 4 months now. How long has this been a gym? It used to be just like a gazebo there at one stage, but it does the job. So this is really what we have here, just a squat rack. And I have a bench then I can throw underneath it. It's, I mean, it's rough and ready, but it does the job, so. Yeah, so for props, I suppose we'd be squatting, upwards of 200 kilos anyway. I've just a little over 200 kilos here, so it's enough to keep me going for the lockdown and for COVID. I don't know, was it 1 rep or 2 rep? We done there last couple of years ago with USA, but it was something like, it was a 170 for a couple of reps or something like that. The toughest thing about living on the island is coming or going to and from the island, but also getting stuff out here, you know, so, you know, bringing 100 kilos of weight on the ferry is it's a pain in the ass, you know.
Having represented both Munster and Ireland at underage levels, Paul's journey in rugby appeared to come to an end when his parents insisted that he continue his studies abroad, in the hope that he would focus less on rugby and more on his academics.
I loved playing rugby, so I wanted to, do the whole Munster under 18, 19, 20. That red jersey was what I was after at the time, and the next step was kind of sub-academy or something like that, and that's really where I wanted to go. But my dad kind of stepped in. He was like, "Listen, you need to get a degree. You know," he goes, "If you get one injury, your rugby career is done, and you need a kind of a plan B." They wanted me to get my degree, and they knew that if I was going to college in wherever it was in Ireland, that I would be playing rugby, and that rugby was going to take over. So, off to Texas A&M. It's probably as far away from Munster rugby anyway as possible, you know.
Upon finishing his masters after roughly 7 years out from competitive rugby, Mullen decided he owed it to himself to give rugby one last shot when an opportunity arose to join Houston and later San Diego in the MLR.
It just happened so fast. You're going from playing Division 3 with Galveston, and then a week later you're playing with the Houston SaberCats, and then you know a couple of months later you're playing for USA. Like, I mean, mad. Sure, it's happens very fast.
Good picture there of Paul Mullen, 18 caps for the US. He's been their big addition with Paddy Ryan leaving.
The thing about America, you know, maybe the thing about growing up here is like, if I'm a kid here and I said I want to be an astronaut, I mean, it's like are you all right? Like, do you know what I mean? Well, if you're in Houston or you know down the road and you say, yeah, I want to be an astronaut, it's like, well, this is what you do because the space center is there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I know it's kind of maybe cliche that say it's a land of opportunity, but if you want, no matter whatever you want to do, you can do it there.
So now finally comes a big bump there from Leah Dwight. 8 caps for Fiji.
No, he's fine.
Poland.
Ball's out. That's gone forward.
Smashed, and here they go with Paul Mullen. Mullen on the front foot.
Playing your advantage, Red.
Wuching quick hands to Ma'anonu as
cover.
JP Duplessis. Patterson on the outside. Tara Patterson gets the fan. He's in the corner.
Yeah, Nanu's there in San Diego, and it's just like, you know, this is one of the lads. Well, she's grown up as a kid, you know, even if you don't know much about rugby, you know the All Blacks. He came up to San Diego and just a phenomenal player. Obviously, it's a shame that we only got to play 5 games together, but it was a great experience. Like, you know, he's just some of the stuff he done was incredible and just simplified stuff. A couple of times there he'd throw a pass and sure, this thing is just like, you'd almost just stop. It's like, that was spectacular. Do you know what I mean? It was like, maybe someday, I don't know if I'll ever do something like that, but it's just, you know, whip a pass like that. It was just, yeah. I knew there was a time where somehow, I can't remember how, but I knew that there was like a deadline to kind of get the email to say that you'd be selected for camp. I know it was about 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, Irish time. And I was telling the parents, listen, I'm kind of hoping that I might hear something here. And they said, well, listen, if you hear anything, if it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever, call us. So when I seen the email, I was like, here we go. So call up the parents and sure. I know I woke them up in the middle of the night, but they're absolutely delighted. They probably didn't sleep for the rest, but again, you can say it's probably a dream come true. Do you know what I mean? So you know, obviously from years ago when I was younger, you'd have like the Munster underage emails, or if you got the Irish email, it's like, this is deadly. But it's because it's been, at the time, it's probably 7 or 8 years since I didn't get one of those. It meant a lot to me, you know. So my first cap for America, that was. I think that's his first cap is a big moment for anybody. But so I was against Russia in Colorado. But the second game then was against Scotland in Houston. To play Scotland in Houston, which you could say was my adopted home. I spent a long time in Houston, so to come back there next thing to beat Scotland was epic.
Ball at the back and penalty to the United States. We'll be delighted with that scrum effort.
It was like the first scrum. First scrum. Scotland sought the decent scrum, and then we got a scrum penalty. Fucking, that was. I don't say it's going to be a good day, but just like fucking that. Once that happens, things are going in the right direction. Anyway,
Chases this one now. It's outside the 22. The ball bounces up. McKenzie has it. Genius. Somerset, the Terminator is in. The United States take the lead. It's scintillating stuff. Raise your hands. Henko Thomasais. What a score. Chips this one towards the uprights. He's missed it. Kinghorn's kick goes to the side. Bullock blows the whistle. The United States have defeated Scotland for the first time in history. 27 years after they lost to the Scottish 15.
I learned the American anthem, especially when I played USA under 20s. There was actually a bit of a panic. Before we were playing the Samoa or something, I had to learn the anthem very quick. So I was focusing so much on the rugby the whole week that I actually forgot about the anthem, but I learned it in the dressing room just beforehand.
In another strange twist of fate, having left for the States 8 years prior, Mullen's first time back on Irish soil would be to play Ireland in the Aviva Stadium.
To be coming home to play against Ireland in Aviva, it's just, that was very special. The hard thing about it was, there's always like, what if? Do you know what I mean? I was like, what if? You look at the lads. So let's say I was saying like, Niall Scannell now, and Kevin O'Byrne. These lads I was hooker with, and you see them and they go on and they're playing like, they're playing for the Munster senior team, playing for the Irish team, and it's just like, what if, you know, and that was always like, I couldn't let that bother me, do you know what I mean? So that's why I was like, I need to just give it everything I have, and know that I gave it everything.
Oh no, I busted there.
Oh, shy.
There, yeah.
The other one was fine, yeah?
Yeah, the other one's good. Change it over there.
These are fucking massive. I suppose when you're like living out here, there's nothing comes easy. Like nothing comes easy, because, you know, as I was saying earlier, you know, I mean, granted, there's a young lad now, or you can probably get your haircut on the island now, but like years ago, if you wanted to get your haircut, you had to go to Galway. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, it's an hour in the ferry, an hour in the bus. So you're spending like it's a whole day to get your haircut. It's not a case of just, you know, hopping the car 10 minutes on the road. So it's, I don't know, I suppose when you're out here, you kind of have to work hard, because if you want a simple life, well, if you want a simple life, yeah, you can probably have a simple life here, but it's nothing comes easy out here. You definitely have to work for it.
Well, it's nice just to be able to, like, you know, switch off. Do you know what I mean? When you're in, let's say in Houston now, like, it's just go the whole time. The last ferry leaves at 5, and, you know, sit back, open the can or whatever, do you know what I mean? Whatever it is. But I suppose the real killer about living out here is if you miss the ferry. Do you know what I mean? So if you're, you know, let's say if you arrive in Dublin Airport at 5 o'clock at night, you're not coming home. Do you know what I mean? But sure. One, I have one. I think they've recorded me the whole time.
Oh, definitely important.
For Mullen, becoming a professional rugby player is made all the more impressive when considering the week in, week out slog of just making it to training when living on an island.
I can't remember now what the training was, but it was something, you know, it was twice a week I'd be heading up and down. Hop of the ferry here at 12, arrive in Rossaville maybe 12:45, be in Galway at 2 o'clock, and then you get the bus City Link in Galway from Galway to Limerick, and then get one of the lads and pick me up and bring me to training. Then I'd stay with a friend after training and come back home the following morning. So I'd be back home. I think I'd usually try to be home and coming in the first ferry. So be home, do a day's work, and then leave again the next day.
I go training now with Galwegians, so twice a week. So I go out, leave school early on a Wednesday, get the plane out, train in the evening time, go back in Thursday morning for school, and out then Saturday for training again, then back in on the evening boat. And I have an aunt in town, and she lets me stay with her for the night.
Like, yeah, I mean, in fairness, it's mad. Like, let's say some lads will be complaining they have to, you know, drive half an hour to train and, you know, drive half an hour back. Sure, I mean, the commitment is actually phenomenal. Like.
It's tough. It is tough. Like, say for the last 6 years I've been playing rugby, like all the way through secondary school and everything. Like I was traveling out twice a week for training. I'd leave school like early on a Wednesday evening, get the plane out, straight into training, then train for my hour and a half, even sometimes a gym session before training, and then back to my grandparents' house, stay the night there, and then I was up again early the next morning to get the plane in, and then I'd be about 10 minutes late for school. Paul came back for Christmas there a while ago, just after he'd just started playing for the USA, and he got me out in the lawn. He was like, "Come down, we'll do some runs." He's like, "I need to get fit again." So he's like, "Heard you're playing rugby, come down." And he's just like so kind of, you know, so interested in us, like the younger lads playing rugby on the island, and he's just kind of trying, you know, always interested in kind of knowing how we are and how we're getting on and stuff like that, trying to help us out.
He's fit anyway, I tell you that much. He's a lot fitter than me.
I mean, lockdown was bad, but here you still had you go fishing or swimming or snorkeling, whatever it is. You can do that here. While if I was in the middle of Houston now, I might be fairly limited to what I could do. Yeah, I do security here, maybe or night porter, maybe twice a week. So it's keeps me busy. Yeah, running would be my favourite aspect of the training now, but sure, it has to be done.
Exercising on the island or fitness and working out on the island isn't too bad. I'm probably quite lucky really, because you can go for a run, or if you're running or cycling over the road, it's somewhat scenic. Do you know what I mean? Well, really, I suppose you weren't a massive before I went to America. You weren't a huge fan. The next thing the lads would be saying, "Geez, Brian was big into his rugby." And he's supporting Leinster. I was like, "Geez, what's going on there?" Like, you know. And then it was, I was like, Sean O'Brien. Sean O'Brien's a farmer. Brian's a farmer. You know, that's it. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm surprised you wouldn't like, let's say John Hayes. You know, obviously this is a long time ago in Munster, but you know what I mean. He was like the bull, like, you know.
He was, but on the island here, everybody's kind of supporting Munster.
Yeah, fair enough.
I kind of always wanted to be a bit different, so I kind of mostly to piss off a few people, but I picked Leinster and I stuck with them, and it's kind of it's an obsession ever since, like, so it's kind of. It'd be cheaper if I did support Connacht, only across the water, but...
we might be able to put a USA hat on you maybe someday, huh?
Hopefully, well, Jesus, hopefully.
Dilute you a little bit, huh?
Oh, super proud of him, like. Jesus, I was kind of... When he was at the World Cup, I sent him a text just congratulating him, well done and all that, and I was talking to a few lads in town and Galway and stuff, and they were like, how'd you getting on with the... I said, jeez, I was talking to one of the lads there who plays for the United States from the island, like... I was more proud than anybody, like, but yeah, it was a great achievement, like, fair play to him.
You're there, you know, when you're growing up as a kid, you're doing the test rugby or, you know, the fancy rugby kind of thing, and, you know, you have these players that you're putting on your team, and all of a sudden, these lads are here, like, it's like, fuck, you know, what am I doing? You know, you're almost thinking, what am I doing here? You're waiting for that nod, you get it, it's like, all right, here we go. That's, it's tough, but you know, that's why you just kind of just give it everything and see what happens, you know. England had a decent, a very good scrum, but you know, you could wind them up a bit too. You know, I mean, even though as dominant as they were, you could throw a few words in there just to wind them up a bit. But that's in it. Didn't seem to make much of a difference. So I might have backfired. You know, losing the 3 games. So we lost England, France, and then Argentina. We're like, you know, so it's crunch time is coming, and you know, you're kind of thinking, I haven't really made any money. So it's like you need to make money, you need to win.
The harsh reality of professional rugby meant that being in the pool of death would result in the USA finishing the tournament with no wins, and therefore no win bonuses, which many Tier 2 rugby players are heavily dependent on while on tour.
Pressure was coming on. I mean, there's pressure coming on. You know, there's pressure anyway. You want to win because it's just for pride and for everything. But at the same time, you know, let's say once the World Cup is over, you need to be able to survive, put food on the table, and so the win would have been nice, but. Such is life, I suppose, you know. You know, obviously I play rugby in America. I want to play rugby as best I can, but you know, my rugby career is what? If I'm 28 now, if I was playing rugby at 38, I'd be extremely lucky. If you want to make money, well, it's simply not in America, not right now. But like, look, the standard of living in America is good. It's very good. Nice, like, especially if you're in a nice spot, then like, you know, sometimes California is a nice spot close to the beach. I mean, sure, you know, can't beat it. Like, it's after training, they might head down for an old swim in the Pacific. Lads surfing there beside you. Not the worst life in the world. Do you know what I mean? Granted, the pay mightn't be great now, but that's what you have to, you know, you weigh up.
But the Prop's love of rugby has never been about money. Delighted to be a part of the MLR's journey, Mullen wholeheartedly believes that American rugby will one day be a major force within the game.
The MLR is definitely getting better in terms of, let's say, facilities. So you think maybe 5-10 years down the road, if it keeps progressing at that rate, you know, rugby in America will be something serious, like.
On the islands here, yeah, definitely. I'd say everyone knows he's represented America, and I think everyone would be proud too. So
good lad, like, good head and shoulders, like, you know he's going to go far, like, so yeah, super proud now, I have to say, yeah. Very good for the island.
It was crazy to think that like someone from such a small place like Aaron is playing for the USA or playing up in the Aviva, you know, that I kind of like makes me want to think that I hope it's going to be me one day or something like that, you know, that if Paul's able to do it, you know, someone else could do it.